Hi there, I'm Jackie from Bloom Property Management, and today I'm going to talk about how to make buildings more sustainable by changing the colour of the roof. In New Zealand we have a lot of metal roofs, and we have metal roofs because they're nice and light and can withstand the pressures of the strong winds that we get here, but also they perform quite well in earthquakes. We don't want to have heavy tile roofs over the top of us in most buildings, because in an earthquake they potentially could fall on people and hurt them. So we tend to have tin roofs, metal roofs. Now, when people are replacing a roof or repainting an older roof, the colour you paint it, or the colour you choose, can really have an impact on how comfortable the house is. You might not be aware of it, but the roof colour can have as much as 20 degrees impact on the heat in the attic space underneath it. Now 20 degrees is a lot, that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit. And so that is the difference between heating and cooling for a couple of extra months either side or not. So heat up in an attic will come down into a house. Just try lying in a bunk bed close to the ceiling of a room as opposed to on the floor. You will notice that heat differential, and some of that is coming down from the roof space. So it really does have an impact. So if you've got a roof that needs replacing, choose a white or a colour close to white as you can get. So in colour steel that might be titanium. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, white roofs, they're not really on trend, are they? Well, we're property investors. We're supposed to be countercyclic. The reality is a roof might last you 25 to 50 years, and the trend now is for black roofs, but it won't always be. Trust me on this. So no matter what roof colour you choose, it will be out of fashion at some point during its lifetime. You might as well choose the roof that's going to give you the most environmental benefit. Now, it's not just environmental benefit from your comfort level, but there's also the benefit of maintenance. So light coloured roofs cost less money to maintain. That seems like a big claim, I know, but the reality is, well, it's just science. So dark colours heat up more and cool down more, and so they're expanding and contracting. And on a metal roof, that expansion and contraction is moving around the screws or the fixings that hold it in place. And if that's a dark roof, that's moving a lot more than if it's a light coloured roof. And so you're creating holes in your roof with a dark roof over time that will not happen with a light coloured roof. So you have less maintenance to do, less screws to replace, less leaks to fix. That's fantastic. And in addition to that, there is a really, and look, I know another concern that people have is that white roofs or light coloured roofs will be really glary in their faces, and that's rarely the case because of angles. So in order to have a glary roof looking you in the eye and blinding you, you would need to have the sun behind you and the angle of the roof being perpendicular to you. And that's rarely the case. Often roofs are angled, and the sun's up on a different angle, so it's reflecting light up and out, not straight to your eyes. So you really have to worry about that. It's more likely you're going to get glare off windows at the ends of days, mornings and evenings than you will off a roof ever, even if you live above them. And it can have some beneficial effects. So for instance, if you've got properties in a valley, there might be some properties that are benefiting from light bouncing off your roof into their house, making it lighter and brighter, which is fantastic. So here's where things get really weird. So roof colours can actually be used for geoengineering. Now, geoengineering is where we change the climate through our actions. And you might think, oh, that's a big ask. None of us actually do that. Well, actually we do all the time. All of our daily lives is geoengineering in some form or another, just by driving our cars around, or choosing the food we do, or how many miles come into the clothes that we're wearing, all that kind of stuff. We are always affecting the planet, but this is a way we can do it positively. So if we change our roofs to light coloured, we are creating something called the albedo effect, and that is, easiest explanation, is the reflection of sunlight off snow. So snow acts as a bit of an insulator and keeps things cooler because light and heat bounce off it because it's white. So if snow gets sooty, it actually melts faster. So if we change our roofs to light coloured roofs, we're actually creating a snowball that is going to be bouncing heat back out into space. And that's really important because we've filled our atmosphere full of carbon dioxide and methane, which holds on to heat. And so if we can encourage it back out into space, that's a good thing. And you might think, well, I've only got one roof, it's not that much area. The Earth is huge, and my roof's maybe 100 square meters. Trust me. Because we're thinking really short term if we're thinking like that. Each roof is going to need to be repainted or replaced within the next however many to 50 years. You can guarantee in 50 years almost all roofs will have been changed or repainted at the very least, and that means all roofs on Earth potentially could become white or light coloured. And you might still think, well, that's not much, the Earth's big, cities are small. Well, actually, cities and urban areas take up 3% of the Earth's surface, and considering that 70% of the Earth is water, that means it's 10% of the land. 10%. That's significant. And if we can change all of our roofs to white, we will be having a massive effect on the heat that's going back out into space. Now, if we go too far and we go, uh-oh, we've overdone it here, we're now creating an ice age, it's easy to get out some paint and change the colour of the roof to reabsorb some of that heat. Whereas if we do some of the more extreme measures of geoengineering that are suggested by scientists of seeding clouds and things like that, that's a train that could get run away and there's no stopping it. So it's a much safer way of doing geoengineering and something that each of us can do. And if you're thinking, this is hogwash, no one's doing this sort of thing, it has huge impacts on cities, so much so that New York City has been painting roofs white for years now, decades, and they've painted millions of square feet of roof space already white to reflect heat back out of New York City so that their summers are more bearable. Something to think about. As always, I'm here with lots of interesting tidbits about how you can be more sustainable with your property.